If you drive through the plains of Iowa today, you see them everywhere. They are the sentinels of the modern prairie, wind turbines. They are massive, 300 feet of steel and fiberglass, white, clean, elegant. They spin lazily against the blue sky, a symbol of order, of man harnessing the wind. To stand at the base of one is to feel small. They are built to withstand the brutal winters, the baking summers, and the storms that roll off the Rockies. They are engineering marvels, indestructible giants, or so we thought. Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, southwest of the small town of Greenfield. There is a wind farm. It's usually quiet out there, just the rhythmic whoosh, whoosh of the blades cutting the air. But on this Tuesday afternoon, the rhythm is broken. The air pressure drops. Your ears pop hard. The birds, the crickets, the low hum of the highway, it all vanishes. It's replaced by a sound that doesn't belong in nature. It's not a roar yet. It's a scream. It is the sound of the atmosphere tearing itself apart. A storm is crossing the fields. But this isn't just a storm. It is a grinder. Look at the turbine, the one on the ridge. The wind hits it. And for a moment, the steel holds. The brakes on the massive blades lock up, trying to feather the prop against the gale. But the wind speed isn't 100 miles an hour. It isn't even 200. The data we have, the radar signature we will discuss later, suggests the air is moving at speeds that defy our understanding of physics. The turbine buckles, 300 feet of steel, crumpled like a soda can. And then, something impossible happens. Something that, if you didn't see the video, you wouldn't believe. Friction, the sheer violence of the collapse, the snapping of high-voltage cables inside the nacelle, the twisting of metal on metal at 300 miles per hour. It generates a spark, and the turbine catches fire. Imagine that image, a white tower, bent in half, consumed by black smoke and orange flame, spinning wildly in the gray dark, while a funnel of pure condensed violence marches past it. It is a scene from hell, brought to the cornfields of Iowa. The burning giants. That was the warning. That was the sign that the rules had changed. But here is the terrifying part. The turbine was miles away from town. The people of Greenfield, sitting in their living rooms, finishing their lunches, checking their emails. They couldn't see the burning giants. They couldn't hear the steel screaming. They just saw rain. And they had no idea that the thing that just snapped a wind turbine in half was turning its head and looking directly at them. Welcome to the impact zone. We tell ourselves stories about disaster. We tell ourselves that if we are smart, if we watch the weather, if we have a plan, we will be safe. We believe in the radar. We believe in the warning sirens. We believe that concrete walls are enough. But what if the measurement is wrong? What if the storm that is coming is hiding a secret, a number, buried deep inside the vortex, invisible to the naked eye, but capable of doing things that shouldn't be possible? In May of 2024, a tornado struck Greenfield, Iowa. The official record will tell you it was an EF4, a terrible storm, but a survivable one. The data tells a different story. Scientific instruments parked near the town recorded wind gusts that whisper of a different reality. Gusts that challenge the world record held by the Reno monster. Gusts of over 300 miles per hour. So, how did anyone survive? Over the next 45 minutes, we are going to walk you through the timeline of a miracle and a tragedy. We will analyze the forensic meteorology, the structural failure, and the human spirit. If you want to understand the true power of the atmosphere and the dark history of storms that rewrite the record books, subscribe now, because we are about to enter the timeline, and the clock is already ticking. Let's go back 2 hours before the impact. 1:10 p.m. Greenfield, Iowa. It's a Tuesday. If you've never been to Greenfield, picture the quintessential American square. A historic brick courthouse sits in the middle, anchored by green grass and old trees. It's the county seat of Adair County, a place where everyone knows everyone, a population of 2,000 people. It's the kind of town where, if you hear a siren, you look out the window to see which neighbor's cat is stuck in a tree, or which fire truck is heading out to a grass fire. You don't assume the world is ending. Normalcy bias. That is the psychological term for what is happening right now. It is the brain's refusal to accept that a disaster is imminent. It is the feeling that it won't happen here, or we've had warnings before. At 1:10 p.m., the National Weather Service in Des Moines issues a watch, but not just any watch. This is a PDS watch. PDS, particularly, dangerous situation. To a meteorologist, those three words are a scream. They mean the atmosphere is primed not just for tornadoes, but for long-track, violent tornadoes. The sky is loaded, the humidity is high, the shear, the way the wind changes direction with height, is perfect. But to the average person, it's just a red scrolling bar at the bottom of the TV screen. Shae Newbury is home. She is a young mother. Her world is small right now. It is defined by feeding schedules, and naps, and the soft breathing of her infant. She is inside the bubble of early motherhood. She glances at her phone. She sees the watch. Particularly dangerous situation. Does she panic? No, she lives in Iowa, in May. Tornado watches are the background music of spring. You respect them, but you don't stop living. You don't pack the car. You don't go to the basement at 1:10 p.m. You wait. Outside, the air feels heavy, sticky. It's that feeling where your shirt clings to your back. The sky is a bruised purple, mixed with a sickly yellow. If you were standing in the town square, looking southwest, you might have felt a breeze, warm, wet, carrying the smell of ozone and wet earth. That breeze is the fuel. It is the gasoline, being poured over the town, waiting for a match. 50 miles away, there is a truck on the highway. It looks like something out of a sci-fi movie, a flatbed truck, carrying a massive articulating dish. This is the DOW, the Doppler on wheels. These are the storm chasers who don't care about getting the money shot for YouTube. They care about data. They are the scientists. They are out here today because their models predicted exactly what is happening. They are hunting the truth. Inside the cab, it is a cramped world of glowing monitors and laptop screens. The air conditioner is fighting a losing battle against the humidity and the heat of the electronics. The radio is crackling with spotter reports, wall cloud forming, rotation tightening. On their screens, they see the storm initiating. It's a supercell, a massive, rotating thunderstorm. On radar, it looks like a kidney bean, and right in the curve of the bean is the hook echo. The hook is where the rain wraps around the updraft. It is the fingerprint of a tornado. But the DOW team is seeing something else. Usually, a tornado starts as a broad rotation and tightens up, like a figure skater pulling in her arms. This storm, it is tightening, fast. The velocity scan, the screen that shows wind speed, is lighting up in bright pinks and whites. The scientists look at each other. They know what this means. This isn't a sloppy, rain-wrapped mess. This is a drill bit. A drill bit tornado is exactly what it sounds like. Narrow, focused, spinning at incredible speed. It acts like a surgical instrument. It doesn't just push things over. It grinds them away. And it is moving, fast. Forward speed, 40, maybe 50 miles per hour. That is the other variable the people in Greenfield don't know yet. Usually, you have time. You see the storm coming. You watch it crawl across the horizon. But a storm moving at 50 miles per hour, it eats geography. It covers a mile every 60 seconds. If you see it, it is already too late. Back in Greenfield, Sheri Wolf is at home. Her house is her sanctuary. It's where her memories are, where her family gathers. She is aware of the weather. The sky has turned that eerie, greenish gray. The wind is picking up, whipping the trees back and forth. But then, around 2:30 p.m., something strange happens. The wind stops, the trees go still, the birds go silent, the rain, which had been spitting and blowing, tapers off. This is the sucker hole. the intake notch. It's the breath before the scream. For many people, this is the moment of maximum danger, because it looks like the storm is over. It looks like, oh, it missed us. It went north. It went south. You can imagine people stepping out onto their porches, looking at the clouds, maybe lighting a cigarette, calling a friend. Yeah, got pretty dark there for a minute, but I think we're good. They don't know that the stillness is the vacuum. The storm is inhaling. It is drawing all the air in the county into the updraft. It is gathering its strength. Sheri is inside. She might be checking the news. She might be thinking about what to make for dinner. She doesn't know that miles away, the burning giants have already fallen. She doesn't know that the Dow truck is clocking wind speeds that are climbing, climbing, climbing. She is in the trap of the normalcy bias. She is safe. Her walls are solid. Her roof is strong. But the invisible number doesn't care about walls. It doesn't care about roofs. 3 p.m. The National Weather Service updates the warning. Tornado warning. Stop city. 2:57 p.m. A confirmed tornado was located near Villisca, moving northeast at 45 mph. Hazard, damaging tornado. Source: radar confirmed. Impact: you are in a life-threatening situation. The sirens in Greenfield begin to wail. Woo. It is a sound designed to provoke fear, a rising and falling tone that cuts through the walls. But sirens are tricky things. We hear them for tests. We hear them for distant storms. We hear them, and we pause. Shae Newbury hears them. She looks at her baby. She looks out the window. It's raining again. Hard rain, sideways rain. She can't see the horizon. She can't see a funnel. This is the rain wrap. Imagine a curtain, a thick, gray, wet curtain of torrential rain. It wraps around the tornado, hiding the monster inside. If you look at a rain-wrapped tornado, you don't see a funnel. You just see a wall of water. You think it's just a heavy thunderstorm. You don't see the rotation until the wall of water is on top of you. Shae hesitates. The basement is next door, at the neighbor's house. To get there, she has to take the baby, go outside, into the rain, and run. Is it worth it? Is it worth getting the baby wet? Is it worth the panic? What if it's nothing? What if she runs over there, bursts into the neighbor's house, crying and scared, and the sun comes out 10 minutes later? She'd feel foolish. This is the calculation we all make. The calculation of social embarrassment versus survival. She picks up her phone. She calls her husband. The sirens are going off, she says. What should I do? He can't see what she sees, but he can hear the fear in her voice. Go, he says. Just go. That simple command. Just go. It breaks the trance. It breaks the normalcy bias. She grabs the baby. She grabs nothing else. No diaper bag, no purse, no shoes for herself. She opens the door. 3:30 p.m., 9 minutes to impact. The storm is now a monster. It has crossed into Adair County. It has widened. It is no longer a drill bit. It is a wedge. It is churning up the earth. It is tossing farm equipment like toys. And it is roaring. Survivors say the sound changes. It stops sounding like wind. It starts to sound like machinery. Like a million ball bearings in a blender. Like a freight train. Yes, but louder, deeper. A vibration that you feel in your teeth. In Greenfield, the lights flicker. And then, they go out. The TV screens turn black. The weather radar feed dies. The town is blind. Now, the only warning is the sound. Sheri Wolf hears it, a low rumble, getting louder. She is still in her house. She is thinking about the basement, but her mother is there. Her son is there. Moving everyone downstairs takes time. It sounds bad, someone says. Sheri moves to the window. She expects to see rain. Instead, she sees debris, not leaves, not twigs. She sees pieces of insulation, pink fluff, floating down from the sky like snow. That is the sign. If you ever see insulation falling from the sky, run. It means the storm is not just blowing things around. It is shredding buildings. It is taking homes apart, miles away, and lifting their insides into the upper atmosphere. It is the confetti of destruction. Sheri yells, basement, now. 3:35 p.m., 4 minutes. The DOW truck is positioned. The radar beam slices through the rain. The scientists stare at the screen in horror. The numbers are spiking. 200, 250, 280. The velocity couplet, the spot where the wind going away meets the wind coming in, is incredibly tight. It is a knot of kinetic energy. It's strengthening, one of them whispers. My God, it's strengthening right as it hits the town. This is the worst-case scenario. Sometimes, tornadoes cycle. They lift up and put down a new funnel. If a tornado cycles over a town, sometimes the town gets lucky. The storm lifts right before Main Street. This storm is not cycling. It is intensifying. It is taking a deep breath, flexing its muscles, and preparing to strike. Shae Newbury is running. The rain is stinging her face. The wind is trying to knock her over. She clutches the baby tight against her chest. She reaches the neighbor's door. She pounds on it. Bam, 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 let me in, let me in. The door opens. Hands pull her inside. They rush to the basement. 3:38 p.m. 1 minute. The sky in Greenfield turns pitch black. Not the black of night, the black of ink. The air pressure drops so fast that people's ears pop painfully. Windows bow inward, terrified, trembling in their frames. The roar is deafening now. You can't hear the sirens anymore. You can't hear your own thoughts. Sheri Wolf is at the top of the stairs. She is pushing her family down. Go, go, go! She looks back, one last time, at her living room. She sees her couch, her pictures on the wall, the life she built, and then the wall explodes, not the window. The wall. The house doesn't just shake, it disintegrates. The darkness rushes in. The wind, the invisible number, finally reveals itself. It grabs Sheri. It doesn't push her down the stairs. It pulls her up. Chaos. There is no other word for it. Sheri Wolf is no longer in her home. She is no longer on the ground. She is inside the monster, survivors of high-end tornadoes, the ones who are taken up and live to tell about it. They struggle to describe the sensation. You might expect it to feel like falling or flying, but Sheri describes it as swimming. She is tumbling through a slurry of mud, insulation, wood, and glass. The air is so thick with debris that it feels solid. It is dark, pitch black, but she can feel things hitting her. Thud, a piece of drywall, scratch, a tree branch, impact, something harder, a brick, a toaster. She doesn't know. She has no orientation. Up, down, north, south. They don't exist. There is only the roar and the pressure. It feels like the atmosphere is trying to crush her skull. Her ears are screaming. The pressure drop inside an EF4 tornado is profound. It's like diving to the bottom of a pool in a split second. She thinks of her mother. She thinks of her son. She wonders, is this it? Is this dying? She doesn't feel fear, not really. The brain shuts that down. She is in shock. She is just floating, a passenger in the wind, and then, as quickly as she was taken, she is dropped. She hits the ground, hard. Mud fills her mouth. Debris piles on top of her. She tries to move. She can't. She is buried. And the roar is still going. Cut to the DOW truck. If Sheri is experiencing the physical reality of the storm, the scientists are watching the mathematical reality. And it is terrifying. The radar screen is updating every few seconds. Sweep, sweep, sweep. The numbers coming in are historic. Wind speed is measured in tiers. EF1, 86 to 110. EF2, 111 to 135. EF3, 136 to 165. EF4, 166 to 200. EF5, anything over 200. The screen flashes. 300, let that sink in. 300. 309 miles per hour. 318 miles per hour. The scientists are staring at the raw data. This is rarefied air. These are speeds that rival the fastest winds ever recorded on the surface of the planet. This is the invisible number. The radar beam is hitting raindrops and debris just 44 meters off the ground. That's treetop height. This isn't high-altitude wind. This is the grinder. This is the buzzsaw that is currently chewing through the southern streets of Greenfield. One scientist points at the screen. The width of the damage path isn't wide. It's not a mile-wide wedge that flattens everything indiscriminately. It's tight, concentrated. It's a drill bit. A drill bit spinning at 300 miles per hour does not push houses over. It erases them. Shae Newbury is huddled in the corner of her neighbor's basement. She is clutching her baby, so tight her knuckles are white. She is surrounded by people. Neighbors, strangers who ran in from the street. They are all pressed together, a huddled mass of humanity in the dark. The power is gone. The only light comes from cell phone screens, casting ghostly blue shadows on terrified faces. And then, the house above them starts to die. Listen closely. When a house is destroyed by a tornado, it doesn't happen all at once. It is a symphony of specific failures. First, the shingles peel off. It sounds like a deck of cards being shuffled by a giant. Zip, 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 zip. Then, the windows go. Pop, smash. The glass doesn't fall in, it explodes out. Then, the roof structure fails. Shae hears it. A groan, a deep, structural moan of wood snapping under tension. And then, the sound that everyone remembers. The nails, thousands of nails, holding the framing together, are being pulled out of the wood simultaneously. Screech! It sounds like a banshee. It is the sound of the house screaming as it is torn apart. Above their heads, the floorboards creak. Dust rains down on them. Shae curls her body around her infant. She becomes a human shield. She presses her face into the baby's blanket. "Please," she whispers. "Please, please, please." She feels the pressure change. Her ears pop. The air in the basement gets cold instantly. That means the house is gone. The roof is gone. There is nothing between them and the monster but a layer of floorboards. They are naked to the sky. Roseanne Freeland is somewhere else. She is in a safe room, a concrete bunker built into a basement. This is the gold standard of survival. 4 walls of reinforced concrete, a steel door. She is inside with her family. They lock the door. Inside a concrete box, the sound is different. It echoes. It amplifies. Outside, the tornado is doing its work. The eraser is scrubbing the land. We talk about damage in degrees. A roof lost, a wall collapsed. But what is happening in Greenfield right now is slab-clean destruction. The wind is so violent, it is scouring the bark off the trees. It is stripping the grass off the lawn. It is taking the asphalt off the street. Roseanne listens. She hears heavy things hitting the ground above her. Whoomp. That's a car. Crash. That's a refrigerator. She holds the door handle. The wind is trying to suck the door open. The pressure differential is immense. The vacuum of the tornado wants to pull the air out of the room. She fights it. She pulls back. She is fighting the storm for the safety of her family. Hand-to-hand combat with the atmosphere. For 2 minutes, time stretches. 2 minutes is a commercial break. It's a song on the radio. But in the dark, with the roar of a freight train on top of you, 2 minutes is an eternity. Every second is a question. Is the concrete strong enough? Is the door strong enough? Am I strong enough? Let's pause the timeline for a second. We need to talk about the sound. Every survivor says the same thing. It sounded like a freight train. It's a cliché. But in Greenfield, on May 21st, it wasn't accurate. A freight train has a rhythm. Clack, 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 clack. This sound was constant. It was a grinder. Imagine a blender filled with rocks, magnified by 10,000. It is the sound of millions of debris impacts per second. Every 2C4, every brick, every shingle is a projectile moving at 200 miles an hour. When they hit something, they explode. So the roar isn't wind. The roar is the sound of the town, hitting itself. It is the sound of Greenfield, being pulverized. And in that noise, there are smaller sounds, the car alarms. They start going off as the pressure drops. Beep, 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 beep. And then, one by one, they are silenced, crushed. The gas lines rupture, hiss, the power lines arc, snap buzz. It is a cacophony of man-made order being dismantled by chaotic force. And then, as the center of the vortex passes over, the eye. It's not calm like a hurricane eye, it's chaotic. But for a split second, the wind shifts. The pressure bottoms out. If you were standing in the center, and you could open your eyes without being blinded by dust, you would see the funnel going straight up. a gray tube, spinning like a top, reaching into the clouds, and you would see things floating, mattresses, books, a child's bicycle, suspended in the updraft, defying gravity, before being flung into the fields of Iowa. 3:41 p.m. The storm is moving fast, 50 miles an hour. It tears through the south side of town. It crosses the highway. It chews up the lumber yard. And then, just as quickly as it arrived, it moves on. It heads east, out into the open farmland. In the basement, Shae Newbury waits. She doesn't move. In the mud, Sheri Wolf lies still. She is afraid to open her eyes. In the concrete room, Roseanne Freeland releases her grip on the door handle. Her hand is cramping. The roar fades. It doesn't stop instantly. It travels away. It sounds like the train is leaving the station. Lower, quieter, further. And then, silence. This is the deafening silence. It is the loudest sound in the world. No birds, no cars, no wind, no sirens, just nothing. The air is still. The dust is settling. Shae Newbury lifts her head. She uncurls her body. She checks the baby. The baby is crying, a small, thin wail in the dark. It is the first sound of the new world. Shae looks up. She expects to see the ceiling of the neighbor's basement. Instead, she sees gray light. She sees clouds. There is no floor above her. There is no house. She is sitting in an open pit under the Iowa sky. She stands up. Her legs are shaking. She climbs the stairs, or what's left of them. She emerges. She looks left. She looks right. She tries to find her house, her sanctuary, the place she ran from just 10 minutes ago. She spins in a circle. She can't find it. Not because it's damaged, but because she can't tell where she is. The landmarks are gone. The street signs are gone. The trees are gone. Her house isn't there. The neighbor's house isn't there. It looks like the surface of the moon. This is the uncanny valley, the moment where the brain cannot process the visual input. It rejects the reality. This cannot be my street. This cannot be my town. But it is. The monster has passed. The eraser has finished its work. Now, the daylight comes. Roseanne Freeland pushes the door open. It's heavy, not just because it's steel, but because the world is leaning against it. She steps out of the concrete box. The first thing that hits her is the light. It is shockingly, offensively bright. 10 minutes ago, she was in a house. There were walls, there were curtains, there were shade trees, massive 100-year-old oaks that filtered the afternoon sun. Now, there is nothing. She blinks, she looks up. The storm clouds are racing away to the east, dark and bruised purple. But behind her, to the west, the sun is breaking through. It's a cruel, golden late-afternoon sun. It shines on a wasteland. Roseanne tries to orient herself. She knows where she lives. She knows her street. She knows her neighbors. But the map in her head doesn't match the territory. Where is the garage, she thinks? Where is the fence? It's not just that they are broken. It's that they are erased. She looks at the ground. The grass is gone, not covered in debris, gone, scoured down to the mud. The earth looks raw, like a fresh wound. She looks at the trees. The few that are still standing are stripped naked. No leaves, no bark. Just white splintered skeletons pointing accusatorily at the sky. This is the uncanny valley of disaster. It's the moment when your brain refuses to accept the visual data. You look at a pile of rubble and your brain says, that's a wood pile. But then you look closer and you see a staircase. You see a mattress wrapped around a telephone pole. You see a bathtub sitting in the middle of the street. Roseanne steps over a pile of bricks. She looks for her neighbor's house. It's gone. She looks for the house across the street. Gone. She spins in a circle. 360 degrees of total, absolute flattening. My God, she whispers. The whole town is gone. She isn't right, but she isn't wrong. A scar, a mile long and a few blocks wide, has been carved through the heart of Greenfield. Inside that scar, civilization has been reset to zero. Shae Newbury is walking. She is barefoot. She doesn't remember losing her shoes. She is holding her baby. She notices the smell. If you ask a tornado survivor what they remember most, it's rarely the wind. It's the smell. It's a specific sickening cocktail. It smells like pine sap from thousands of shattered trees. It smells like natural gas hissing from ruptured lines. It smells like wet insulation, that pink soggy smell. It smells like pulverized drywall dust, chalky and dry in the throat. And underneath it all, the smell of overturned earth, the smell of a grave. Shae is walking through this fog of scents. She is in shock. She is looking for help, but there is no one, or so she thinks. Then she sees movement. A figure rises from the debris field, then another, then another. They look like ghosts, covered in gray mud, bleeding, stunned. People are climbing out of holes in the ground. They are emerging from basements that are now open-air pits. "Are you okay?" someone shouts. "I have a baby!" Shae yells back. Her voice sounds thin, weak. "I have a baby!" A man comes running. He is limping. His shirt is torn, but he reaches out. "Come here," he says. "Come here. This is the golden hour, before the ambulances arrive, before the news helicopters chop the air, before the police can set up a perimeter. It is just the neighbors, the survivors, helping each other. They are the first responders." Shae looks down at her feet. She is standing on something. She looks closer. It's a picture frame. The glass is shattered, but the photo is still there. A family portrait, smiling faces, a graduation, a birthday. She doesn't know who these people are. She realizes she is walking on someone's life. Sheri Wolf is alive, but she is broken. She is lying in the mud, 2 houses away from where her foundation used to be. She tries to take a breath. It hurts. Her ribs are likely cracked. Her body is a map of bruises. She hears voices. "Mom, Mom, it's her son. He made it. He was in the basement. I'm here," she tries to say, but it comes out as a wheeze. "I'm here." She lifts a hand. It feels heavy, like it's made of lead. Her son spots her. He runs to her. He is crying. He is shouting for help. They find her. They carefully pull the debris off her legs. A piece of siding, a branch, a heavy beam. She looks up at the sky. It's so blue now, so calm. It's insulting. How can the sky be so beautiful 10 minutes after it tried to kill them? They lift her up. They carry her to a truck. There are no ambulances yet. The roads are blocked by downed trees and power lines. So the farmers come. This is Iowa. Within minutes, the heavy machinery arrives, farmers and tractors, construction workers and skid loaders, guys in pickup trucks with chainsaws. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for the government. They just start cutting. Vrrr, vrrr. The sound of chainsaws replaces the sound of the wind. It is the sound of the counterattack. The sound of humanity reclaiming the territory. They cut a path through the streets. They push the rubble aside with bulldozer blades. They make a way for the wounded. Sheri is loaded into the back of a truck. She is driven out of the impact zone. As they drive, she looks out the back window. She sees the swath. It looks like a giant eraser was dragged across the map, and she realizes she is one of the lucky ones. Not everyone walked out. We have to talk about the cost. We have to talk about the silence that didn't break. Michael Jensen, Dean Wiggins, Pam Wiggins, Lee Williamson. These were the neighbors, the friends, the Wiggins home. It took a direct hit. When the searchers arrived, the house wasn't just collapsed, it was swept. Swept is a technical term. It means the floor is clean. It means the subfloor is gone. It means the debris wasn't just piled up. It was granulated and scattered for miles. The searchers, they know what they are looking for, but they pray they don't find it. They work in lines, shoulder to shoulder, walking slowly through the mud. Over here, the line stops. The heavy machinery turns off. Silence falls again. They work with reverence. They use their hands, not shovels. They gently move the pieces of wood, the shreds of carpet. They find them. And in that moment, the statistics, the wind speeds, the radar data, none of it matters. It is just loss. And then, there is Monica Zamaran. She wasn't in a basement, she was in her car. The rule is simple. Do not try to outrun a tornado. But panic makes us do desperate things. Or maybe she didn't see it coming. Maybe the rain wrapped around it and hid the monster until it was too late. Her car was found, destroyed. A car in an EF4 tornado is not a vehicle. It is a leaf. It is tossed, crushed, rolled into a ball of steel. For the families of these 5 people, the timeline stopped at 3:39 p.m. For the rest of the world, the timeline moved on. But for them, the clock is broken. We honor them by telling the truth of what happened, by not looking away. 100 miles away? Imagine driving 100 miles. That's 2 hours on the highway. That's a long trip. In a field, north of Des Moines, a farmer is checking his crops. He sees something white in the dirt. He stops. He picks it up. It's a photograph. It's wet. The edges are curled, but the image is clear. A little girl, blowing out candles on a birthday cake. He turns it over. There is no name. This photo traveled 100 miles. It rode the jet stream. It was lifted by the updraft, carried into the stratosphere, frozen by the high-altitude cold, and then dropped gently, like a feather, 2 counties away. This is the scatter, within hours. Facebook groups pop up. Greenfield tornado. Found items. Thousands of people start posting pictures. Found, wedding photo. 1985. Found, checkbook, name, Williamson. Found, high school diploma. It is a digital lost and found, and it connects the tragedy to the world. People miles away, who didn't hear the roar, who didn't feel the pressure drop, are holding pieces of Greenfield in their hands. It is a reminder of how powerful the storm was, to take a piece of paper and carry it further than most people drive in a day. It is also a reminder of the fragility of our lives. We build our homes, we lock our doors, but a shift in the wind can scatter our most precious memories across the state. Now, we return to the mystery, the Dow truck, the scientists. The storm has passed. The adrenaline is fading. But the confusion is just beginning. They are looking at the data logs. They are replaying the tape. Look at that spike, one of them says. Look at the gate-to-gate shear. They see the numbers again. 309 MPH and 318 MPH. These are holy grail numbers. These are numbers that put the Greenfield tornado in the same conversation as the Bridge Creek Moore tornado of 1999 or the El Reno tornado of 2013. Technically, scientifically, the wind speed suggests this was an EF5. So, why was it rated EF4? This is the controversy. And it is where the science of meteorology meets the reality of engineering. The enhanced Fujita scale, the EF scale, is not a wind speed scale. It is a damage scale. It doesn't measure how fast the wind blew. It measures how badly the buildings failed. Here is the problem. To get an EF5 rating, you need to destroy a building that was built well enough to require 200 MPH winds to destroy it. But most houses, even well-built ones, fall apart at 160 or 170 ME. Once the house is gone, swept clean, reduced to a slab, you can't prove the wind was 300 milliamperes. Maybe it was just 200. The damage looks the same. A swept slab is a swept slab, the scientists argue. But the radar data, they say, we measured the wind. We saw it. The engineers shake their heads. Radar measures wind at 40 meters up. We don't know if that wind made it to the ground. And the houses, they weren't anchored with storm bolts. The walls were nailed, not strapped. They failed early. Do you understand the frustration? The storm was likely an EF5 in terms of energy, in terms of pure violence. But because the buildings were too weak to withstand it, it gets a lower rating. It's like a heavyweight boxer knocking out a toddler. You don't know how strong the boxer really is, because the toddler fell over too easily. The invisible number remains just that, invisible. Officially, Greenfield goes down as an EF4, but the Dow data sits there, a ghost in the machine, a whisper of what really happened. For the survivors, the rating means nothing. Does it matter if the wind was 180 or 300? Ask Roseanne Freeland. Ask Sheri Wolf. When your house is gone, when you are digging your friends out of the mud, the number is irrelevant. The terror was absolute. Months later, Sheri Wolf goes back to her lot. The debris is gone. The trucks have hauled it all away. It's just a patch of dirt now. Empty. Silent. Green grass is starting to grow back where the living room used to be. Nature is reclaiming the scar. She walks the perimeter. She is looking for closure. And then she sees it, lying on the concrete slab. The only thing left. A stone. It's a foundation stone. a decorative piece of limestone that was on the front of her house. Everything else, the wood, the glass, the furniture, the clothes, is gone, pulverized, scattered, but the stone remains. She kneels down, she touches it. It's rough, heavy. She starts to cry, not out of sadness, but out of recognition. I am still here, the stone says. We are still here. She picks it up. It takes 2 hands. She places it in the trunk of her car. This is the first brick, she thinks. This is where we start. Rebuilding is slow. It is painful. It is a bureaucracy of insurance claims and contractor quotes. But the town of Greenfield is doing it. The sound of chainsaws has been replaced by the sound of hammers. Bang, bang, bang. New frames are going up. New roofs, brighter, stronger. They are putting storm bolts in the concrete this time. They are adding hurricane straps to the rafters. They are learning, but they are also watching. We like to think we have tamed the world. We have radar. We have satellites. We have concrete. We have apps on our phones that scream at us when danger is near. We feel safe. But the Greenfield tornado, the burning giant killer, the invisible number, it reminds us of a humble truth. We are tenants here, not landlords. The atmosphere is a living, breathing engine of heat and energy. Most of the time, it is gentle. It waters our crops. It fills our sails. But sometimes, when the conditions are just right, when the moisture from the Gulf meets the cold air from the Rockies, and the jet stream dips just so, the engine revs, and for a few minutes, the monster wakes up. The scientists will study the data from Greenfield for decades. They will argue about wind speeds and cornering velocities. They will try to unlock the secrets of the drill bit. But for the people who live through it, the lesson is simpler. Hug your children, call your mother, take the picture. Because everything else, the house, the car, the stuff, it's just debris waiting to happen. When the sky turns green and the roar begins, only one thing matters. Who is holding your hand in the dark? For the True Disaster podcast, this has been the story of Greenfield. We will be tracking the next storm season closely. The models are already showing instability in the long-range forecast. If you want to be there when the next story breaks, if you want to understand the fury of the planet we live on, subscribe now. The sky is clearing, but the watch never truly ends.